Hi everyone, this is Chris Crazyhouse, back again with some more Chris Crazy commentary. Today I'm going to be talking about an interview that I saw with the writer Ed Brubaker and his commentary and his feelings on the new Marvel show, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But before I get to that, just let you guys know that if you want to support this channel, make sure you just go ahead and subscribe as always and like the videos. And if you want to help the channel out financially, you can always go and buy my merchandise on my online store. I have my comic books, coloring books, poster prints, graphic novels, and stickers on my online store right now for you to purchase. And another way to support the channel is you can become a Patreon. And you go to Patreon and it's $5 a month. That will very much help out the channel, but also that will give you something in return. So in return for becoming a Patreon for Chris Crazyhouse, you will get exclusive coloring pages, you will get clip art, and you will also get exclusive digital art for your phone, your laptop, or your computer. And soon to be coming, there will be artwork that you can use for creating 2D games on your whatever platform that you might want to create them for. So I'll be creating artwork like that as well that you will be able to get on my Patreon. So without further ado, let's get into this story. I thought this was very interesting, and I think this is something that artists need to focus on and be aware of when they enter into these deals with some of these major companies like Marvel or DC. So the article with Ed Brubaker is coming from Bleeding Cool, and they were just basically asking him what he thought of the brand new series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There's only been one episode premiered as of yet, but he said that he enjoys the series. He also enjoys the actor Sebastian Stan's portrayal of the Winter Soldier. For those who don't know, Ed Brubaker is actually the one who created the Winter Soldier character for the Captain America comic books years ago, and his run was one of the most popular runs of the Captain America comic book series. Some people say that that's kind of what took Captain America into the modern era and really gave him the longevity that he has now. And they've used a lot of inspiration from those Ed Brubaker written comic books for the Captain America movies. You can see the influence all through there, to the point where they're even still using the Winter Soldier character. Now, of course, the character of Bucky is a very old character, but reinventing him as the Winter Soldier for the comic books gave this character new life. Before that, the Bucky Barnes character had been one of the few comic book characters that actually stayed dead for a long time. But they brought him back, and I guess with a good reason, when they created the Winter Soldier, and have helped create an entire new background mythology for Captain America, as well as give vitality to this character who back then when he was first created was actually kind of corny, but now is actually a very fearsome and interesting character. So they were asking Ed Brubaker what he thought, and while he likes the show, he still feels very bittersweet about any content created using his stories or his characters that he helped to create, because for obvious reasons he does not receive any type of monetary compensation for it. He says the most that he gets from Marvel, whether it be the comic book side or the movie side of things, is just a nice thank you and maybe even an acknowledgement on the film credits, but he does not receive any money or monetary support or gain from creating this character and writing these books, okay, and being the inspiration for these films and TV shows. And I want young artists to think about that. Sometimes when you hear me ranting about being independent, you might think that I'm just a bitter old man who doesn't know what he's talking about, and you want to do whatever you can to leverage and get yourself inside of one of these bigger companies. But here, let me tell you, when you work for any of these people, that's work for hire. You do not own the characters even if you create something new. So you might go there thinking, yeah, I'm working on an established character, but I want to write a cool story to kind of put my stamp on this character. I want to create my own run, historical run on this comic book series that I have loved for all these years. And there are a lot of people who have done that. You know, you think about the Ed Brubakers or the Todd McFarlane's, his version of Spider-Man, or Frank Miller and his run on Daredevil, and you kind of want to do your own thing, so you start creating your own characters to bolster that. And that's what a lot of those guys have done and still continue to do. But you have to realize that you do not own these characters. Even though you might get known for creating such a thing, you will never own that character. That's Marvel's character, or that's DC's character. And if that character becomes popular, they can do whatever they want with it. Think about even what's going on even with the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. They had the Fourth World characters all through that. Darkseid, Steppenwolf, Desaad, what's her name, Granny Goodness. All those characters were shown in that movie. Jack Kirby's family and his estate didn't get any money from that whatsoever. Okay? So they can take your characters that you poured your heart and soul into, and you created these new adversaries for these established characters like Superman or Batman or The Flash or Spider-Man or Captain America or whoever, and you don't get anything from that. And you know, you create this character thinking it's just going to be a cool story for this comic book run that you've created, that you want to be interesting, and they take that character and they've moved it into movies, they've moved it into cartoons, they've moved it into TV shows, they've moved it into toys and merchandise, they've moved it into video games. So this is what you have to think about. It's not just about creating that character in the comic book. I told you that when I talked about creating stuff independently. Because people always say, well, you're just creating comics, Chris. You're just creating characters in the comic books or coloring books or whatever. It's not just about the work on the print page. You're creating an intellectual property. When you do such a thing, it can go into several different formats, and you can make money in other ways as well, in other media aspects. It's not just one thing. So you have to think about that when you get locked into these deals where you're just getting work for hire and not getting any compensation for the character when it has longevity in other places. See what I'm saying? Because they've used this Winter Soldier character. I remember seeing him in several different Avengers cartoons. I've seen him in different iterations in movies. Now he's got a TV show. I've seen toys. I've seen him in games. So, you know, Ed Brubaker's not getting any money for that. He's not getting any royalties off that because he just created the character for work for hire. Think about people like Marv Wolfman and George Perez creating characters like the Teen Titans. See how, you know how popular the Teen Titans are right now? They're more popular than some of the mainstays at DC because people know Teen Titans from the cartoons and the little online games that show on Cartoon Network and their websites and their apps. Those two are the people who created that stuff. They're not getting any compensation from it. Like, I've heard that maybe they get a little bit from those characters, but obviously it's not enough because I remember George Perez was having trouble a couple of years ago with his health. He wasn't getting enough money from those characters that he created to help him with his health problems or any issues that he might have had. But you know, all these corporate heads, they're making all the money off of that. They're even using one of his characters. They're using Cyborg in the Justice League movies. So think about that. You see, not only Cyborg's been in the Justice League movies, and the character Cyborg has been on the TV show on what was that show? I forget that weird team show that came on HBO Max or whatever, a couple of last year. But he's on that too, played by a different actor. So think about that. These characters are being moved around and used in different mediums. You created them, but you're not seeing any compensation. This is how certain artists and creators who own stuff independently, how they're able to make bank off of it. Like, think about someone like Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead. He's able to make money off of that because he had a deal with Image that still lets you retain the rights to your characters. And he's doing now stuff with his other creation, Invincible. Right now, they're going to have an animated show that comes on Amazon Prime. So there's a way to leverage that, but you have to think about in the long run where you put your stuff and what kind of deals you sign and who you work with. Make sure it's not just work for hire, or if you do have some sort of partnership, make sure you get a cut of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the guys that created Ninja Turtles, like even though they licensed their stuff out for toy companies and everything else, they still got a good enough chunk of it where they were able to make millions right off the bat when the toys started selling. So they were getting $1 million checks off of those Ninja Turtle toys and movies back in the early 90s, and their idea was relatively a new idea at the time. The comic book hadn't been out for that long, right? So that's what you have to think about if you're going to make these deals. At least make sure you're getting compensated for it. If you gotta do a partnership with somebody or license or whatever, at least make sure you get paid. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, I mean, if you've got, go the independent route as best you can to make sure you have the rights and retain all the ownership of your creation, so that no matter what media it appears in, you're getting a check from it. There's no reason nowadays, especially with the way things are and the internet and everything else, there's no reason where you should be creating any type of content and not getting compensated for it. You should always get compensated and paid for the hard work that you put in there. So I'll let you guys comment about this in the comment section. I'll post a link to the article. You can go read it for yourself about what Ed Brubaker has to say about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And you guys give me your opinions in the comment section. Anyway, Chris Crazyhouse signing out. Peace.